I'm Laura Painter. You're watching ABC 10 Tonight. Democrat vice presidential candidate and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was in Sacramento today. ABC 10 was there for his arrival. Then, as people evacuate parts of Florida ahead of Hurricane Milton, dozens of Northern California volunteers and crews are standing by to provide help. And we're continuing our Hispanic Heritage Month coverage. Tonight, we visit Sacramento's Amaya Dance Studio. ABC 10 Tonight starts right now.
Talk about a busy Tuesday. The Democratic candidate for vice president and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was here in Sacramento today for a campaign fundraiser.
ABC 10's Devin Truby was there for the arrival at Sacramento International Airport and has the details.
Rolling into the Sacramento International Airport, Democratic vice presidential candidate and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz emerges from the plane, a smile and a wave. His daughter Hope traveling with him. It's the Walz family first time ever in Sacramento. Walz was greeted by several of California's leaders, including Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis, Congressman Doris Matsui, and Treasurer Fiona Ma. Also in attendance, Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg.
I was very impressed.
The governor of Minnesota using this plane to make one of his many campaign fundraising stops along the West Coast. On Sunday, Walz was in San Diego and Santa Barbara, Monday in Los Angeles, and then on to Seattle. In Sacramento, Walz attended a private fundraising event at the Carmichael home of developer Angelo Sikopoulos, father of Eleni Kounalakis. We caught up with Mayor Steinberg as he was leaving the event. Steinberg said he had to resist the urge to call him coach.
He was very affable, and he's in the fight for the future of this country. And I know that the people of the country, especially in Middle America, relate to his great ability, his insight, and to his manner. He gave a rousing speech, at the event, and really talked about the future, what's at stake for the future of this country. That we all know that, one candidate is for the people and the other is for himself.
Mayor Steinberg says he believes Walz is a good fit for the state because he's practical and progressive, just like Californians. In Sacramento, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
And Governor Walz is now in Reno for yet another fundraising event.
What was supposed to be reforming California's sex offender registry has now turned into what the sheriff's office is calling a scary part of the law. These two Sacramento County men were recently indicted for attempting to engage in sexual activity with a minor. While they had previous convictions, they were removed from the sex offender database based off a state law enacted back in 2021. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen explains what this law intended to do and how the sheriff's office is responding.
In 2021, California divided the sex offender registry into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is for low-level offenders, Tier 2 is for mid-level offenders, and Tier 3 is for violent offenders and are likely to reoffend.
Law enforcement doesn't want low-level offenders clogging up the sex offender registry. They want to focus on the real bad actors.
That was State Senator Scott Wiener back in 2021. He authored SB 384, explaining the reason for it.
It made the sex offender registry so massive, like 120,000 people in California, that law enforcement could not even use it for its intended purpose.
But the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says it's because of this law that allowed 2 previously convicted sex offenders to go essentially undetected.
Both of them were able, after 2021, to petition the court to be removed from the lifetime registry ban.
The Sheriff's Office says both recently had the intention to reoffend. They say an undercover agent spoke with Kevin Gibson, who was interested in meeting with a minor for sexual acts. During that conversation, investigators say Gibson introduced another man, Kenneth Lorenz, who was also interested in committing the crime. Lorenz was convicted in 1966 and 1984 for indecent exposure and sexual battery. Gibson was convicted in 1991 on 2 counts of lewd acts with a child under 14.
This wasn't just a chat. Like, he was convicted, served time in prison, and was let back out into the public with now no supervision.
Because of the tiered system, the Sheriff's Office says both these men were not required to register as sex offenders. We searched the Megan's Law website and neither of them showed up.
They've taken advantage of this law with crafty lawyers and, again, are taking full advantage.
Senator Wiener refused an interview with ABC 10 but did say these allegations are horrific. And if they are true, the suspects deserve to be held accountable with a long sentence in state prison. He pointed to the fact that his bill was supported by the California District Attorneys Association and California Police Chiefs Association, among other groups.
All right, so I want to go to bring in Jeannie, who's been covering this story for us. Jeannie, the sheriff's office says that both of these men are now at the main jail and they are not eligible for bail. We do want to mention that. But Jeannie, if we can't search them on the Megan Law's website, how are we supposed to protect our friends and family? You know, what advice does the sheriff's office have for everyone tonight?
Well, Alex, the sheriff's office says you should be heavily involved in the lives of your loved ones and your children. Always know where your kids are, who they're talking to, and making sure no stranger is getting access to your loved ones through apps or games.
All right, Jeannie, thank you for the update. We appreciate it.
We've never seen anything like this before. This is the storm of the century.
Mandatory evacuations along Florida's west coast are in place right now as Hurricane Milton takes aim at the state, with Tampa Bay expected to take a direct hit. The Tampa airport is closed. Orlando's airport is filled with people today trying to get out of danger.
And as people evacuate parts of Florida, dozens of local volunteers are standing by to try and help.
American Red Cross and PG&E already have boots on the ground for Hurricane Helene and are preparing for Hurricane Milton as well. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has the details.
Local volunteers with the American Red Cross are bracing for the worst as Hurricane Milton makes its way through Florida.
Fortunately, we had people on the ground ahead of Helene when it hit, so we were ready to receive people into our shelters. It is complicating when now there's another storm right on Helene's heels that's coming down.
Steve Wash arrived in Macon, Georgia Tuesday morning in response to both hurricanes after assisting in North Carolina last week. He's based in Sacramento but deployed to the southern states facing the wreckage. He says across the country, about 2,000 volunteers have deployed to states such as Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee. 40 of them are from the Sacramento area and other counties in Northern California. But they are in dire need of more.
The Red Cross has an emergency appeal out for shelter workers. And essentially what that means is even if it's something you've never considered or never done, if you go to redcross.org and indicate that you want to volunteer, we will provide the training quickly. And then it's very likely that you could be on an airplane within 24 hours of completing the online training.
Now we got enough water.
Volunteers deploy for 2 weeks at a time and take on jobs from working in the shelters to communications and logistics. Local crews with PG&E are also on standby during the storm. After a weekend in Georgia, about 400 local PG&E electrical workers, support staff, and more than 300 vehicles are headed to Daytona Beach in Florida on the Atlantic side. This is footage of them leaving California last week. PG&E says they'll be in position to provide restoration help once it is safe to do so. Wash with the American Red Cross says the help doesn't stop there. Once a volunteer's time is up, they will need more people to fill those roles.
We are also out in the field as we can, delivering meals, delivering supplies to people in places that we can reach, and that'll be going on for quite some time.
Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Now, the Red Cross says they do need more volunteers, financial donations, and blood donations. We're told much of the blood supply from this area was already shipped to the southern states ahead of the storm. Let's turn back to Hurricane Milton now. I want to show you a look inside this really tough ride through the storm. The crew inside the aircraft belonging to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. Look at that. They had some cleaning up to do after that bumpy ride through the hurricane caused objects to fall, as you see there. These hurricane hunters are on a mission. They collect data from inside hurricanes to help get a better understanding of the storms and also assist disaster planners. So let's bring in Monica now because we've been warning about this storm for several days now. Tomorrow is the big day, right?
So true. This is such an urgent situation, right?
It certainly is. Yeah, continuing to track that. And it is NOAA, so National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Just wanted to make that clarification there. Peak storm surge for tomorrow, or as this storm starts to move inland, you can see upwards of 12 plus feet right through the Tampa Bay area. Even that being said, up to 12 feet north and south of that region. That's not to even mention the amount of rainfall that's going to be coming in. That's just the amount of water coming in from the ocean. through inland areas. So as far as what's going to be falling, about 6 to 12 inches, 12 plus inches right through the Tampa Bay region there. Could see up to 18 inches of rain. Already rain soaked from Helene coming in just a little bit ago. Satellite and radar in our region, you can see just a few spotty showers there throughout the Sierra Nevada. We have, though, the potential to track some showers at least through extreme northern California with a better progressive system moving through. It's going to be weakening as it moves inland, but it's going to be bringing us a change in our weather pattern. Cooler temperatures near average with a chance of showers in our headlines. Fall temperatures making a return. Pumpkin patch time, Apple Hill time finally, and just that slight chance of showers. But again, it does look like that's going to be edging through extreme northern California. A look at the rundown of temperatures so far in October. It has been a record setter in so many ways. You can see well above average temperatures. The hottest on record for a month in October, 103 last Thursday. So we put 5 days of 100s on the record books here for 2024. That's going to tie the most ever back in 1980, the hottest October day, 103. Now, we haven't quite made it to this date, October 10th, when we hit the latest day that we've had 100-degree temperature. That was set back in 1991, and I'm not expecting that at all. Big Mountain backyard right now, sunny skies. We're still holding on to that heat with temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, 74 with sunny skies for Tahoe. Hour by hour forecast. We start the day with our sunrise at 7:10. 50s for morning lows. That'll be nice and refreshing, warming to the 80s by 1 p.m., but we're going to stay in the 80s tomorrow afternoon. That'll be the first one in quite some time. Here's a look at the futurecast, and that low starting to move its way towards the coast. As you can see, it's going to be hugging that I-80 line right here by Saturday morning. So the best chance of showers will be north of that I-80 line into our Saturday morning. Highs for tomorrow in the 70s for the Sierra with 80s to near 90 through the foothills with highs along the coast in the 60s as we head inland. We are in the 80s. Finally getting back to those fall feels in the forecast here. It'll be still above average, but we'll take this cooler weather pattern. 60s by the weekend forecast for the mountains. For the foothills, we're in the 70s, and for the coast, a mix of sun and clouds, highs in the 60s and 70s. We've got 80s not only for our 3-day forecast, for our 7-day forecast, and for our 10-day forecast. How about that? No 90s, no 100s in that outlook right there.
Oh, those are lovely numbers, especially for folks who have been waiting to get out to pick the apples, check out the pumpkin patches. Looking good.
I'm waiting for even cooler than that, though. That's what I'm looking for.
It'll get here.
Okay. All right, Monica, thank you.
Your voice, your vote. California preparing for the presidential general election the 5th of November. That includes making sure everything is good to go for early voting, in person, and by mail.
Sacramento County already started to give vote-by-mail ballots to the U.S. Postal Service. Ballots are being mailed to registered voters to make their voices heard. Let's get to ABC10's Candace Red live in Sacramento with more on this story. Hey, Candace.
Hey, good morning. Well, we know that early voting has officially started in California, and more than 870,000 people are registered to vote right here in Sacramento County. And you know what? Some of them will be using the ballot drop box, just like this one right here when it comes to mailing in their ballots. Now, you most likely already got a voter information guide in the mail. It explains when and where to cast your ballot, those U.S. Senate races, state propositions, your right as a voter, and so much more. As we know, the presidential general election comes with key dates and deadlines. Now, early voting started yesterday in California, with county election officials statewide mailing those ballots. Now, in Sacramento County, all 60 ballot drop box locations are now open. But before you return your ballot, election officials say that you should make sure everything is in order.
Make sure that you sign your pink envelope after you mark your ballot, put it back in that pink envelope, make sure you sign it, and then you can return it to us either by mail or ballot drop box. Because if you don't sign your ballot, then it's not going to count.
Well, voters can use the postage-paid envelope already provided to return their ballot by mail. The ballot must be postmarked on or before Election Day. Remember, that's November 5th. Now, the county elections office must also get the ballot no later than 7 days after Election Day. And coming back out to you live, by the way, if you plan on voting in person instead of by mail and using a drop box like this one, Sacramento County has 88 voting centers in total. 18 of them open on October 26th, and the remaining voting centers, well, those will open on November 2nd. So just be sure to mark your calendar and keep all of that information in line if you plan to vote for this election year. In Sacramento, Candace Red, ABC 10.
All right, Candace, thank you. Never been easier to vote than it is now. Comes to your house, fill it out, pop it back in. Thank you.
In capital speak, Prop 3 is what they call a cleanup law. Court rulings have made same-sex marriage legal in California and nationwide. Even so, California still has a law in the books banning same-sex marriage. If you open our state constitution, you'll find these words in Article 1. Only marriage between a man and a woman is valid or recognized in California. This was the controversial Prop 8, approved by California voters back in 2008. Because the courts already struck it down, it's unenforceable. If voters pass Prop 3 this year, the language will be repealed and replaced with "the right to marry is a fundamental right." No mention of gender at all. Attitudes towards queer people have changed a lot in 16 years. Prop 3 is going to give California our first direct test of how much. A yes vote on Prop 3 would repeal California's obsolete ban on same-sex marriages. And a no vote would keep the ban in the state constitution, but that ban would remain unenforceable.
Our studio is Amaya Dance Studio. It is the home of our dance company, Amaya Salsa Dance Company. We do offer salsa and bachata training. We do aim to give that proper training for individuals that come and looking more towards enhancing and bettering their dancing. Amaya is being referred to Mother Earth or Mother Nature or Goddess of the Ocean. She is one of the Orishas or the gods of Afro-Cuban religion.
For me, this is the link to my culture because I was born here in the United States. It was very Americanized, and so it wasn't until I really started dancing salsa, really understanding my roots personally. So it's really important for me to stay in link because I get to learn a lot of the history, specifically in Mexico.
Salsa is not only a dance, it's a community, it's a group of people who want to share the Latin culture and Latin dances, and they have fun doing it, and that's the most important part.
Just kind of brought back some of the feelings I had when we would have family gatherings when I was at a young age, and we danced cha-cha-cha, we danced merengue and things like that in our culture as well, which is the Filipino culture.
I love the music and I love to dance because, yes, for me, I don't think about nothing when I'm dancing, just enjoying the moment.
Or for me, it brought a sense of, just like happiness. There was always kind of live music, something going on, somebody was dancing. It was not my sister, it was my mom. So it definitely brought a different type of vibe than listening to the music that was current status. Because like I said, there's a lot of culture where the music came from, where the dance came from, who invented what, and so things like that I feel is very much being hidden the bigger it gets, and so that's the most important, is to making sure the history is still alive.
Well, we've been talking about more and more movies coming to the greater Sacramento-Roseville area. Now, a zombie movie has been filmed locally, set to hit the big screen.
However, Fingers is not your typical zombie movie. ABC's Marcus Allen has all you need to know about the local movie that you can watch starting on Sunday.
Yeah, happy Tuesday, you guys, from downtown Sacramento. I'm not lying when I said zombies have taken over K Street in front of the IMAX Theater. Big round of applause for Fingers, the zombie movie. I don't know. I expected zombies to clap. They really don't. I got maybe one clap in there, and I'll explain why. In the meantime, this is all the brainchild of this guy. Sir, if you would introduce yourself.
I'm Belton Morris Jr. I'm the writer, director of Fingers, the world's first vegan zombie.
And you've checked that. You know that to be true.
Yes.
Okay, now I got to say, why a zombie that's a vegan?
We wanted to have some fun. I was vegetarian when I first wrote this, and I wanted just to have some fun with what could a zombie really be like to be a vegetarian. How would that story unfold? And it became hilarious.
And to that point, like I noticed your zombie makeup, I don't see pieces of flesh falling off. You son of a, if you would... Unlike this guy, you seem a little zombie-like. What's going on here?
Yes, I'm a recovered zombie. I'm 6 months into a recovery.
Recovering zombie.
So I don't have flesh fall on because I'm recovering.
This is what I'm talking about. As you noticed, it is a comedy, despite there are some people that are very committed. Let's get to know him. Your name is? Right, zombies don't talk. One normal person here. Hello.
Hello, my name is Rachel Williams and I play Sarah. I am the therapist and the zombie transformation specialist.
The only normal person in the movie. Right. And you, sir?
Zombie number 7, Tyrone Curry.
By the way, he was looking at you like you were lunch, dinner, or dessert.
Yeah, that's concerning.
That's zombie stuff. That's what's going on. That's why he's going to have to go into zombie rehab. All right, so 3 shows this Sunday. Very exciting because Sunday is...
World Zombie Day.
World Zombie Day. I can't think of a better way to discover it. You can see it. 3 options there at the Esquire IMAX Theater. Get it on their website. I'll link it to ABC10.com. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Zombie Tuesday. It's not a thing, but I'm trying to... Like, I'm gamey, and I'm not vegan, and you don't want any of this. Back to you. I said back to you.
Thanks so much for watching ABC 10 Tonight. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus app. You can get your news and weather and latest on Hurricane Milton anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. See you next time.
Hundreds of thousands of policies canceled.
Insurance here in the state of California is dysfunctional.
People paying more for less.
I'm completely not covered for any kind of fire that happened.
The issue growing.
People can't afford to have the most valuable thing they own.
With no simple fix.
This is a long-term game. We're in the midst of the largest insurance crisis that we've lived through.
ABC 10 investigates California's home insurance crisis. Watch Thursday night on To the Point with Alex Bell.